どうも、勝手に電力2.0で始めたいと思います。今日1145回目というところで、この IEA 目線のソーラーというところで、ソーラーというところがですね、EV もそうなんですけど、分散型で、ある意味、大量に生産できるようなところがあって、もうこの圧倒的な導入スピードというところが一つ特徴なので、今後、いろいろ一番の主力、もちろん風力というところもあるんですけれども、このようなところでソーラーというところを少しもうちょっと深掘りしていきたいなというところがありますと。Why is solar PV important? Solar photovoltaic PV is a very modular technology that can be manufactured in the large plants, which create economics of scale but can also be deployed in very small quantities at a time. This allows for a wide range of applications from small residential rooftop systems up to utility scale power generation installation. What is the role of solar PV in clean energy transition? Despite increasing investment costs due to rising commodity prices, utility scale solar PV is the least costly option for new electricity generation in the significant major of countries worldwide. Distributed solar PV such as rooftop solar or on buildings in also set for faster growth because of higher retail electricity prices and growing policy support. Where do we need to go? The exceptional growth in PV deployment in recent years will need to continue and scale up to follow the net zero emission by 2050 scenario, requiring continued policy ambition. And solar PV still dominates renewable energy capacity additions. Solar PV's installed power capacity is poised to surpass that of coal of 2027, becoming the largest in the world. Cumulative solar PV capacity also triples in our forecast, growing by almost 1,500 gigawatts over the period, exceeding natural gas by 2026 and coal by 2027. Annual solar PV capacity additions increase every year for the next 5 years. Despite current higher investment costs due to elevated commodity prices, utility solar PV is the least costly option for new electricity generation in a significant majority of countries worldwide. Distributed solar PV, such as solar rooftop solar on buildings, is also set for faster growth as a result of higher retail electricity prices and growing policy support to help consumers save money on their energy bills. Solar PV generation increased by a record 270 terawatt hour, up to 26% in 2022, reaching almost 1,300 terawatt hour. It demonstrated the largest absolute generation growth of all renewable technology in 2022, surpassing wind for the first time in history. This generation growth rate matched the level envisaged from 2023 to 2030 in the net zero emission by 2050 scenario. Continuous growth in the economic attractiveness of PV, massive deployment in the supply chain, and increasing policy support, especially in China, the United States, the European Union, and India, are expected to further accelerate capacity growth in the coming years. The tracking status of solar PV has therefore been upgraded in 2023 from more effort needed to on track, maintaining a generation growth rate aligned with the net zero scenario will require reaching annual capacity additions that are close to 3 times higher than those of 2022 until 2030. Achieving this will require continuous policy ambition and effort from both public and private stakeholders, especially in the areas of grid integration and in addressing policy, regulation, and financing challenges. New ambitious policies and targets introduced in the biggest solar PV markets will further accelerate capacity growth. Countries and regions making notable progress to advance solar PV include China continues to lead in terms of solar PV capacity additions with 100 gigawatts added in 2022, almost 60% more than in 2021. The 14th five-year plan for renewable energy released in 2022 provide ambitious targets for deployment, which should drive further capacity growth in the coming years. The European Union is accelerating solar PV deployment in response to the energy crisis with 38 gigawatts added in 2022, a 50% increase compared to 2021. New policy in the target proposed in the The Power EU plan and the Green Deal Industrial Plan are expected to be important drivers of solar PV investment in the coming years. The United States include generous new funding for solar PV in the Inflation Reduction Act IRA introduced in 2022. Investment and production tax credit will give a significant boost to PV capacity and supply chain expansion. India installed 18 gigawatts of solar PV in 2022, almost 40% more in 2021. A new target to increase PV capacity auction to 40 gigawatts annually and dynamic deployment of the domestic supply chain are expected to result in further acceleration in PV growth in the near future. Brazil added almost 11 gigawatts of solar PV capacity in 2022, doubled its 2021 growth. Deployment is expected to remain on this level in the medium term thanks to continuous demand for renewable energy from industry and electricity retailer. Solar PV electricity generation achieved another record increase in 2022, putting the technology on track with 2030 milestones and under the net zero scenario. Power generation from solar PV increased by the record 270 terawatt-hour in 2022, up by 26% on 2021. Solar PV accounted for 4.5% of total global electricity generation, and it remains the third largest renewable electricity technology behind hydropower and wind. China was responsible for about 38% of solar PV generation growth in 2022, thanks to large capacity additions in 2021 and 2022. The second largest generation growth, a 70% share of the total, was recorded in the European Union, followed by the United States 50%. Solar PV proved to be resilient in the face of supply chain bottlenecks, high commodity prices, and the increase in interest rates experienced in 2022, and achieved another record annual increase in capacity, 220 gigawatts. This should lead to further acceleration of electricity generation growth in 2023, reaching an annual solar PV generation level of approximately 8,300 terawatt-hour in 2030, in alignment with the net zero energy scenario, up from the current 1,300 terawatt-hour. We require annual average generation growth of around 26% during 2023 to 2030. This rate is similar to the expansion records in 2022, but maintaining this momentum as the PV market grows will require continuous efforts. Distributed systems play an increasingly important role in global solar PV deployment. Utility-scale plants were responsible for about half of global solar PV capacity addition in 2022, followed by distributed capacity in the commercial and industrial 25% and residential 23% segments. The share of utility-scale plants was at its lowest since 2012 as generous policy incentives drove record distributed PV capacity additions in China, Brazil, the United States, the European Union in 2020 to 2021. In the context of high fuel and electricity prices in 2021 to 2022, distributed PV became an increasingly attractive alternative for many consumers, which has sparked investment. Utility-scale systems are the cheapest source of electricity generation in most parts of the world. However, building large-scale installation is becoming increasingly challenging in many countries due to the lack of suitable site and complicated permitting procedure, which favor small-scale rooftop PV systems. Continuous support for all PV segments will be needed for annual solar PV capacity additions to increase to about 800 gigawatts in order to reach the more than 6,000 gigawatts of total installed capacity in 2030. In research in the NZE scenario, distributed and utility-scale PV need to be developed in parallel depending on each country's potential and needs. Solar PV manufacturing capacity expansion is well on track to exceed 2030 demand in the net zero scenario. The solar PV market is dominated by crystalline silicon technology, for which the production process consists of four main steps: production of high purity polysilicon, crystallization into ingot and slicing into thin wafers, production on PV cells, assembly of PV modules. In 2022, global solar PV manufacturing capacity increased by over 70% to reach 405 gigawatts for polysilicon and up to 6,040 gigawatts for modules, with China accounting for more than 95% of new facility throughout the supply chain. According to investment announcements by manufacturers and the expected impact of industrial policy introduced in the United States IRA, India Production-Linked Incentive, and the European Union, the Green Deal Industrial Plan, global capacity will more double in the next years. However, despite these efforts to geographically diversify the supply chain, announced project indicates that China is likely to maintain its 80 to 95% share in solar PV manufacturing capacity in this period, while solar PV manufacturing capacity in 2030 is expected to be well above what is required to cover 2030 demand in the net zero scenario. Greater efforts are needed to increase the resilience and geographic diversification of the supply chain. Crystalline silicon remains the dominant PV technology, with new, more efficient designs expanding their market shares. Crystalline polysilicon remains the dominant technology for PV modules, with a market share of more than 97%. Various different types of wafer and cells and used for crystalline polysilicon solar, with some more efficient than others. The shift to a more efficient monocrystalline wafer accelerating in 2022, with the technology capturing almost all crystalline PV production. In parallel, a more efficient cell design, passive emitter, and rear cell pack is also expanding its dominance, with almost 60% market share. Other new, even higher efficient cell design using technologies such as TOPCon, heterojunction, and back contact also saw expand commercial production and captured about 35% of the market in 2022. Strong policy support for solar PV is driving the acceleration in capacity growth. Policy support remains a principal driver of solar PV deployment in the majority of the world. Various types of policy are behind the capacity growth, including auctions, feed-in tariffs, net metering, and contracts for difference. The following important policy and target changes affecting solar PV growth have been implemented in the past couple of years. China published its 14th five-year plan for renewable energy in June 2022, which includes ambitious target of 33% of electricity generation to come from renewable by 2025, up from about 29% in 2021, including an 18% target for wind and solar technologies. In August 2022, the federal government of the United States introduced the IRA, which significantly expands support for renewable energy in the next 10 years through tax credit and other measures. In May 2022, the European Commission proposed to increase the European Union's renewable energy target for 2030 to 45% as part of the REPower EU plan, which would require 1,236 gigawatts of total installed renewable capacity, including 600 gigawatts of solar PV. Many European countries have already expanded their solar PV support mechanisms in order to accelerate capacity growth with a view to the 2030 target and in response to the energy crisis caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In addition, in February 2023, the Commission announced the Green Deal Industrial Plan, aiming to support the expansion of clean energy technology manufacturing, including solar PV. During COP26 held in November 2021, India announced new 2030 targets of 500 gigawatts of total non-fossil power capacity, and 50% renewable electricity generation share, more than double the 22% share in 2020, as well as net zero emissions by 2017, with solar PV being one of the main technology used to achieve these goals. In 2022, solar PV further strengthened its leading position as a power generation technology with the most investment. Global solar PV investment in capacity addition increased by over 20% in 2022 and surpassed USD 320 billion, marking another record year. Solar PV comprised almost 45% of total global electricity generation investment in 2022, triple the spending on all fossil fuel technologies collectively. Investment in PV is expected to grow further in the coming years thanks to ambitious government targets, policy support, and increasing competitiveness. Many global and bilateral collaboration initiatives are advancing technology development and policy support for solar PV. Beyond global renewable energy initiatives that include solar PVC renewables, there are numerous international organization collaboration programs, groups, and initiatives aimed specifically at accelerating solar PV growth around the world, such as the IEA Photovoltaic Power System Technology Collaboration Program, which advocates for solar PV energy as a cornerstone of the transition to sustainable energy systems. It conducts various collaborative projects relevant to solar PV technologies and systems to reduce costs, analyze barriers, and raise awareness of PV electricity's potential. The International Solar Alliance, which is a treaty-based intergovernmental organization that provides a platform to promote solar energy across 86 member countries in the safe, affordable, sustainable, and equitable manner. Solar PV is the main renewable technology choices in the private sector. Private sector's main activity in solar PV deployment can be divided into two categories. Companies investing in distributing, including rooftop solar PV installation on their own buildings and premises, responsible for 26% of total installed PV capacity as of 2022. Companies entering into corporate power purchase agreement (PPS), signing direct contracts with solar PV plants operators for the purchase of generated electricity. Solar PV plants dominate renewable PPS with a share of almost 70% in 2022. That's all.